Good day. My name is Alan Palmer, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. I'm asking you to share this video. Share it on your page, share it on a friend's page, share it in your room, share it in a group. And when you share it, tag someone in it. Please, my people, leave a comment. Let me know what are your opinion on this. People, I want to tell you all, I told you so. I told you so. I've been telling you this for the longest while. Nobody ever respond to say that they believe me. Nobody never said that they disbelieve me. But I've been sending this message across St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the longest while. And now I have proof of what I was saying. Now I have solid proof of what I was saying. It was reported in the month of March that the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in their collection of revenue for the month of February, fell short by $21 million. People, $21 million represented 20% of the monthly government intake of revenue. Listen to me, people. For a small country like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with a dwindling economy, $21 million is a hell of a lot of money. But it is not a lot when it comes to the government of a country. $21 million is not a lot of money. But when you have a small, dwindling economy like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, every penny must be accounted for. Let me show you how small our economy is. $21 million means that on an average, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines take in about $105 million in revenue. Remember, government don't go into retail, they don't do wholesale, they don't do real estate. All of government's income, that's what they use for plans and programs to ensure that the health sector is functioning, to ensure that tourism is thriving, to ensure that all of our industry are functioning at its optimum, comes from tax. It comes from VAT, license, import duties, taxes on salaries, property tax, you name it. If there is a tax, that is how government get their monies. So the question you have to ask here, what was responsible for the fall short? The intake of revenue that make the government fall short by 20%, which is equivalent to $21 million. This is the question you have to ask. As I said earlier, we have a dwindling economy. And if your economy is dwindling, that means the circulating capital within the economy is reducing also. And when the circulating capital reduces, there is less money to go around, to pay bills, to take care of needed expenses. Because the first thing we have to do, we have to ensure that we can survive. We have to ensure that we eat. We have to ensure that we are clothed. And we have to ensure that we have a roof over our heads. So the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' monthly intake of revenue from taxes and tariffs is about $105 million. The yearly intake of revenue from the government is approximately $1.3 billion, which is not a lot for a country. This may be a lot for a small community. This may be a lot for an individual. But for a country of 110,000 people, this is not enough. When you consider that the government have to budget for the construction of new roads and the repairs of old roads, for the construction of new bridges and the repairs of old bridges, salaries of all of government workers will eat up a big fraction of this money. That, remember, the government have to pay the light bill, the water bill, the telephone bill, for all government buildings. They have to pay rent for those buildings that they're renting from private citizens. and they have to service the external debts. And I will tell you this, the money is not enough to do all of these things. Normally when the average person hear $1.3 billion or $105 million a month, we say, boy, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money for an individual. It is a lot of money for a family. But for a government that have to manage the affairs of over 125,000 people, this is not enough money. Don't forget, the government have added responsibilities, like we have to pay the seismic unit at the University of the West Indies to monitor our volcano on a consistent basis. Government ministers, permanent secretaries, and other locals have to travel abroad to do the government business on the government expense. Ask yourself this, when was the last time the ULP government constructed a new road? Where they go into a place where there was no road and they from scratch prepare and they construct a new road to give access to that area. When was the last time the ULP government take the time out to address the bad roads that are now covering St. Vincent and the Grenadines and do meaningful repair to these roads? When was the last time the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines inspected bridge and did the needed repairs to these small bridges that we have? Have you ever wondered why our hospital is in such a dilapidated condition? Why there is no medication for patients when they go to the hospital? It's because the government have been losing money. The government does not have enough money to deal with the necessities of the country. That is why Ralph Gonsalves was so happy when the volcano erupted, because he thought it was an opportunity to get a lot of money from donor agencies and from foreign countries. But no agency or country is going to give you more money than you are making naturally to run a country. A disaster is not an opportunity to put the country at a better position than it was before the disaster happened. So he was disappointed when country like Great Britain only gave us what? It was about £56,000. He was elated when the COVID-19 pandemic struck, because he was hoping a lot of Vincentians would have died from the COVID-19 pandemic, and it would have made things easier for him to manage. It would have reduced the government workforce, and therefore the expenditure that is dedicated to paying salaries would have dwindled a lot. And because Vincentians are so stubborn, they refuse to die. They refuse to die in vast numbers with the pandemic. He had to find an alternate route. He had been firing the frontline and other government workers who are not fully vaccinated. People, listen to this. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the frontline and other government workers had to work through a pandemic. We had to work through a volcanic eruption, and they had to work through dengue fever. In Grenada, the Grenadian frontline workers only had to contend with the pandemic. Yet, Dr. Keith Mitchell was able to reward all of his frontline workers with bonus salaries, while Ralph Gonsalves was busy firing our nurses, our teachers, our police officers, our port workers. Why? Because his incompetence saw a dwindling of our monthly and yearly revenue stream into the government coffers over 20 years. When Ralph Gonsalves took over the reins of government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we had a thriving export market where our traffickers will buy produce from our farmers and export them to our neighboring countries, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua, the Virgin Islands, and sometimes Dominica, and so forth, right? We had a banana industry that was dying, but we were still making a good $70 million per year from banana sales. Now, we don't have any export at all. What I would like to know, what was the average monthly intake of revenue by the government during the 80s and 90s, comparison to what the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is taking in now. My people, things are not going to get better. It is only going to get worse because Ralph Gonsalves don't have any idea what he's doing. He don't have an iota of what is needed to turn the economy around. A few years ago, he said when he finished the international airport, it's going to change everything. The international airport was the savior of all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' economic problem. Today, the international airport has been finished over 4 years now. And guess what? Things are only getting worse. It is not a case as if we build it, they will come. They have to have a systematic plan for the development of any industry. There must be a systematic plan in place for the development of tourism. The incompetent Ralph Gonsalves and his government tried to give the country, the citizen, the impression that all these polyclinics and so forth that were being constructed was done by the government resources. These polyclinics and other projects that are being implemented in St. Vincent were done by donor agencies and donor countries. Did you negotiate enough money to get the project completed? But remember, St. Vincent and the Grenadines has what is considered a dwindling economy. We don't have the resources to dedicate for the repairs and refurbishing and restocking of these projects. It is highly important that you do all in your power to negotiate monies, especially for the upkeep of the building. Can't say I didn't tell you this. I told you this many years ago. I've been telling you this for quite a while consistently. You didn't heed the warning. What I want to know is what was the monthly revenue intake of the government in the 80s and the 90s in comparison to what is happening today. I want to see if St. Vincent and the Grenadines have actually fell off of a cliff or if it was a gradual decline. My name is Alan Palmer, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son. I'm asking you to share this video. Share it on your page, share it on your friend's page, share it in your room, share it in a group. And when you share it, tag someone in it. Please, my people, leave a comment. Let me know what are your opinion on this. Like this video, and I will talk to you very soon.